I hope everyone's doing well. I am Mr. Ish. Thank you for joining me for this video where we are looking at some questions naming alkynes. These are hydrocarbons where you have a triple bond functional group show up, carbon, carbon, triple bond. How do you name these? Especially when you also have a double bond in the same molecule. It's usually a tug of war between the alkyne and the alkene. Neither one wins, and it depends on the location of each of those functional groups in a molecule, so that whatever can get the lowest number should get the lowest number. What do I mean? When I'm looking at this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon chain, and I can number it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this particular case, I have the double bond alkene on carbon 1, the alkyne is on number 3. But if I were to name it in this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then I'm getting lower numbers for each. When you have an alkene and an alkyne in the same molecule, you want to number it such that whichever functional group can get to the lowest number earlier should go with that numbering system. Now look, when I'm looking at this, I know my alkene is on carbon number 1, my alkyne is on carbon 3, and I will name it in the following way: 1-hex-N, En. There's a E and E to indicate it's a ene, a double bond, and alkene, but you can remove that for proper alphabetical representation in terms of chemistry. I have a 1-hexene, and then I'll say here 3-ine, Y-N-E. This Y-N-E represents an alkyne at carbon 3. 1-hexene, 3-ine, this right here is the correct name and it will be right. Now for question number 2, what we can do is modify this a little bit. I'm erasing these numbers over here, and I'm erasing this name, and what I'm going to do is this. Look over here, I'm going to make a little change here in this remainder of the molecule. Now look what I've done. I have moved the alkyne functionality 1 carbon further. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon compound. I'm looking here at a double bond on carbon number 1, but I'm looking here at an alkyne, carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. I won't number it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I'm trying to pay a higher precedence or priority to the alkyne than the alkene. Whichever one can be given the lowest number, you go from that direction. Here I can clearly give the alkene the lower number, therefore I will proceed from left to right in terms of my numbering: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I go in the other way, I'm getting a lower number. The alkyne, I'm getting lower numbers. We have to still proceed from left to right. In this particular case, we're still looking here at a 1-hexene to indicate I have an alkene on carbon 1, but then I will say over here 4-ine, and this right here will be a correct name. Now I know my alkyne is on carbon 4. This does not have a higher priority than this, only unless it is closer to a terminal end and it can have a higher priority number, then only will it trump the alkene. Look over here at this compound. Now we've done a change. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon chain. I'm looking here at an alkene which is in the middle somewhere, and the alkyne is on the side. In this particular case, I'll give a higher priority to the alkyne functionality than the alkene because it's closer to the end. I can give it a lower number. I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this right here will be correct numbering scheme. If I go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I'm giving the higher priority to the alkene, this right here is the numbering scheme. In this top scheme, I'm getting a lower number for whichever functionality, but I'm getting the lowest number. Here I'm getting a lowest number carbon 1 because it represents an alkyne. Here if I go in this direction, I'm getting a 2 for an alkene, and it's not less than 1. The top scheme must be true and you must hold on to that. How do we name this? We have a 5 carbon chain. We'll say here we have 1, 2, 3. We'll do 3-pentane to indicate my alkene group is on number 3 of this pentane, which is now a pentene because of the double bond. But then I'll say here 1-ine because now my alkyne functionality is on carbon 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3-pentane, 1-ine, and this here is a correct name. Look over here at this, question number 4. How do we number this? You know you only have an alkyne functionality, therefore it takes precedence over everything. You want to number the carbon for your alkyne with the lowest number. If you go from this direction right here, your carbon will be 1, 2, 3. If you go from this direction, your carbon holding the functional group, your alkyne will be number 2. So this right here is the correct way, this right here is the incorrect way, and you are going to proceed from left to right. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know you're looking like a pentane style compound, but on carbon number 4 you have 2 methyl groups. You will say here 4, 4 dimethyl, because on carbon 4 of this chain I have 2 methyl groups, 4, 4, 4 dimethyl. That's how you'll do it. And then you will say 2, but you have a pentane, but you'll convert it to pentyne, P-E-N-T-Y-N-E. That right here is the correct name. On this pentane-like chain, which is a pentyne due to this functional group, I have a carbon bearing the alkyne functionality at number 2, but on the carbon number is 4, I have 2 methyl groups. Correct name, and this is what you want to go with. Now look over here, we have an alkyne functionality and a hydroxyl. Which one takes precedence? The alcohol will take the precedence. Therefore, you must give this the lowest number. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. This proceeding towards the left is correct. Going 1, 2, 3 right here, it will be wrong. The alcohol functional group takes the higher precedence than your alkyne and your alkene. So how do you name this? You have on carbon number 2, you have your alkyne functionality, and it's a propane, but it's a propanol. So this is how you will name this. You'll go with 2-propyne. Propyne, YN indicating you have an alkyne, comma 1-ol. 2-propyne 1-ol indicating the hydroxyl on carbon 1 of this 3-carbon chain, with the carbon 2 holding your alkyne functionality. A correct name. Here it is exactly how you want to present it if it showed up on an exam. Look over here, this is an interesting compound. I have a cyclohexane, I have an attachment, and I have an alkyne. If I were to write this in a better representation, so it's a little more friendly, this is what I'm really looking at here. CH2, then I have a C triple bond, CH. This is exactly represented by here. Now you know this takes precedence, but this also takes precedence. Here this entire part is an attachment to a cyclohexane ring, so you have to remember that. You're not going to do 1, 2, 3, it's wrong. You will rather do 1, 2, 3. This is exactly how you're going to proceed. This right here representation is wrong because your attachments must be your carbon 1 is the one which is attached to your cyclo group. That must be carbon 1. So this right here numbering is wrong. On this cyclohexane, you know you have 6 carbons. This will be your carbon 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On carbon 1 of this cyclohexane, you have this attachment which is 3 units long, which has a alkyne group. Let's name it. On this attachment right here, carbon number 2 is where I have my alkyne functionality, because this is 1, this is 3. So this is how we'll name it. We have a 2-pro, I won't say 2-propyne, but I'll say 2-propynyl, propanil. The L will give it a symbolism with regards to it being an attachment. 2-propanil. Then I can have this cyclohexane. You can literally combine this with this and make it one long name. You don't have to write 1 cyclohexane because it's on 1 of the cyclohexane, because it's assumed if there's no number it's 1. 2-propanil cyclohexane is your correct name, and you cannot be wrong with it. This is our last question. Look what we have. We have a bunch of lines over here, and we have that. When we write it down in a different way, this is what I really have. I have a carbon here, I have a methyl here, I have a methyl here, and I have a alkyne group here. What's the priority here with regards to the numbering? Is it basically the alkyne or bromine? Bromine is not the priority. This is the priority because it's part of your chain. The item which is part of your longer chain must take the precedence. You're not going to do 1 and then 2 and then 3 and 4, because you still have to give this functional group, the alkyne, the lowest numbers. You will go in the other direction. What you will do is this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. You have a butane-like chain. On carbon 3 you have a bromine, you have a methyl group. What comes first in terms of alphabetical order? It's this. So you're really looking here at a 3-bromo. Then you have a 3-methyl. So that's part of your name, 3-bromo, 3-methyl. Now let's name the parent chain, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 butane, but you'll say 1-butyne because you have to pay particular importance to the alkyne being on carbon number 1. You could technically say 3-bromo, 3-methyl butyne and not putting the number indicates it's on carbon 1, but putting the 1 over here, it makes it clear and it removes the ambiguity. 3-bromo, 3-methyl, 1-butyne is a perfect name, and we end the video with that. Thank you for watching.